All right, cool. I'm ready to
All
go.
right. Are we ready to start?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So this Innovation Jam, we're going to be going over a couple things. We're going to pose a question. A lot of us, of the members here of the group, watched a movie, and we have to discuss what cultural fragmentation is. It's a term. We'll define it, discuss it a bit, how we saw the movie, and then we'll have a little bit more open discussion going along a question we chose for us to all discuss and talk about and analyze. But starting off, cultural fragmentation. Does anybody want to define that here for us? Going once? Anybody want to volunteer? I know you want to volunteer, Nick.
So culture fragmentation is defined as the disintegration of singular cultures and the formation of numerous diverse cultures. In the film Crash, we see the result of cultural fragmentation in multiple ethnic groups and how they have like conflict within each other.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we watched a movie called Crash. It was kind of artistic film. The premise of it is you have all these different people, and it spans like a whole day and night. All these different people stories, and they're all somehow interacting with each other, but they're different ethnicities. They have different jobs, vocations, and they do different things. And usually it's almost always conflict. They're racist to this person, but somebody else is racist to them. And there's interweaving stories of people saving each other, people doing bad things to each other, such as sexual assault and trying to shoot them, and shooting them, stuff like that. We see it takes place in LA. We see the LAPD. We see a Persian store owner. We see a Mexican locksmith. We see the district attorney and his wife. All these different types of people, and it doesn't matter which ethnicity is being blamed. All of them are having racial issues with each other. So we're going to discuss how cultural fragmentation, we already discussed its definition, why we think it's the main theme of this movie. And yeah, we're going to start off there. So
I think while we just not get too far ahead of us, I think everyone should introduce themselves just to know the background, and also like to find new different opinions on the matter.
Oh yeah, I'm Jason.
You start. Maybe tell where you're from. And
I am a Greensboro local. I'm a junior here at UNCG. And what do I like to do? Anything outside. Big nerd for hiking and stuff.
What's your major?
At the moment, exploratory.
All right. Nick, you want to go ahead and do the next one?
Sure. Nick, I'm a freshman here, originally from Wake Forest, and I'm currently undecided right now.
All right, and you're a freshman, right?
Yep.
Yep. Who wants to go next?
I can go. I'm Ricky. I'm a senior here at UNCG, and I'm from Pinehurst.
Nobody else wants to. I'm Philip Schulte from Mannheim, Germany. I study business administration, and I'm here for one semester as an exchange student in my third year. So I guess this makes me a junior. Yeah.
Yes, I can go next. My name is Cecilia. I am actually also an exchange student from Denmark, and I'm majoring in economics and business administration. I don't know what I like to do for fun. I don't know. I think nature is very nice too. Everything outdoors. Key, do you want to go?
Do I need my camera on or no?
You're fine. If you want, put it on.
No. What's it called? My name's Keyshawn. I'm from Raleigh, and I'm undecided. I'm a freshman.
My name's Sam. I'm a transfer sophomore originally from Darmstadt, Germany, but I've lived in Asheville since I was like 6.
Hey, I'm Yolanda. I'm a transfer student as well. I am a junior here at UNCG, and Oh, my major is psychology, and I have a minor inside of English. And to I like to drive and explore new places for fun. So like driving to random places and then going out and figuring out where I am.
Cool. All right.
Noah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I guess going back to the movie Crash,
Yep.
the one of the first examples of cultural fragmentation in the movie was when two black men were like in a like pretty upper class white area of the city, and they went out the restaurant and like started talking about how everyone was like looking at them weird and how they didn't get as good a service as everyone else in the restaurant. But then as I saw like a white couple walk by, which you'll later find out was like the district attorney and his wife. They started talking about how the wife, when like as soon as they saw the black man, she like got closer to her husband because she was like scared of him. And then he like supposed to like feel bad for them because of that, but then they like later do end up mugging them. So yeah, that was like kind of the first example of cultural fragmentation in the movie, and it sets up some of the other examples as well.
Definitely, that scene was a really good starter. It was supposed to be some serious situation and turned very humorous because they actually carjacked him while joking about it. So.
Yeah. Anyone else got any other examples of it?
Yeah, another early scene on is there is a family in a gun store, and the gun store owner is white, and the family is, without being describing them, is Middle Eastern of some sort. And this, I mean, the movie was what, 2004, I think. So this is, I mean, right after 9/11. So he immediately starts accusing him of being a terrorist for wanting to buy a gun, and his accent and hard time with English. And the man was trying to explain how he's Persian, not Arab, and the man just kept calling him an Arab. And they got into a conflict, and eventually the Persian man walked out, and his daughter ended up buying the gun and the ammunition for it. And so setting up how people are just completely ignorant of each other's actual ethnicity and just pushing whatever they think stereotype wise is.
So like not long after that one, the same district attorney and his wife goes to their house after they've been mugged, and she is having the locks changed on all their doors. And it's a Hispanic man doing the job. And she tells her husband that she wants all the locks changed again in the morning by a white man because she thinks that the Hispanic man is going to sell her keys to the gang. Just because like he has a shaved head and like tattoos on his neck. So.
I guess another example, going back to the Persian Arab thing, is that the one of the Persian store owner store got broken into, and whoever broke into it like wrote a bunch of like anti-Arab stuff all over like the walls, even though it was a Persian dude. Just showing how like little people know about the culture, but they're still willing to hate them a lot just because of what they like think, even though they don't really know that much about it.
Mm-hmm. They can't even get the right culture right, and they just assume it's something that's not it, is it, and spit hate towards it. Yeah. Another one was a cop and his partner pulls over a vehicle because they realize they're doing specific activities. You can use your mind in the front seat while driving. So he pulls them over, and instead of just kind of giving warning, has them step out, and they happen to be a black couple. And the veteran cop in search when she's wearing a cocktail dress and sexually assaults her, and basically threatens that if the husband retaliates and whatsoever, that they're going to go to jail or violence would happen to him.
All right. Well, so it's been about 15 minutes talking about that. So do you want to move on to the second thing we're talking about?
Yeah. Let's just sum it up and then move on.
Yeah. Should I introduce the question?
Go for it.
Yes. So the next topic we're going to discuss today in this jam is how would you change the city of Greensboro to encourage students to stay after graduation? So what could the city do to like improve its environment to be more attractive for young people?
And this is an open question. We haven't discussed this at all. That's the whole purpose of this, is every member try to think of some ideas.
Yeah. I think the first thing I would like to add to this discussion is the fact that more job opportunities. I feel like I'm not very known around here, but I feel like a lot of people are saying that there are not many opportunities when you finish. People usually go off to Charlotte or near towns that are bigger than Greensboro. So maybe getting some bigger companies to move into Greensboro and locate themselves here would help on this topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a Greensboro native, I can just straight up say there is not a lot of the jobs that we see students nowadays getting into are very technical jobs. And besides maybe a Honda factory 20 minutes outside the city, there's not very much technical jobs in the area whatsoever. Looking at the landscape of actually what is in Greensboro, we do see a lot of private businesses in downtown, that sort. However, we don't see, as Celia discussed, a lot of big corporations that can hire, for example, like an Amazon place. We have a FedEx around here, and that's near the airport pretty much. But when we're looking for higher education jobs that we see students have once they obviously graduate from university, they're lacking, to say the least.
I think something that like, I mean, not necessarily the city of Greensboro, like as a council, but within the city, different businesses like downtown or something could pair or partner with the university. I've heard from a lot of upperclassmen that are looking for like internships and things like that, that they really can't find anything in Greensboro and they're having to move to like Charlotte or Raleigh to find internships that fit their majors because there's just nothing for them in Greensboro. So if like some of the private businesses downtown partner with the university, say take on like 1 or 2 interns per semester, I think it could really help people be encouraged to stay in the city after graduation.
Maybe if I can jump in real quick, I can tell from experience, like back home in Germany, there are a lot of sponsorships, or companies are very present on campus. Like there are a lot of sponsorships that aren't even like expensive. It's just like we have a lot of guest lectures from companies, or they collaborate with student clubs, or maybe also sponsor events or buildings or whatever. But I don't feel like the presence of companies is there at UNCG at least. So maybe that's also a point where the city or the university to say can improve.
Okay, I'm not sure because this is my first year here and I haven't really looked into it all, but like, does the university have like a job fair or anything where there's like local companies like come and like have like a little booth or something to have like information about them?
They do. They do it a couple times a year. They send out like mass emails about it. Even I think like the Bryan School has their own, I think, with different like bigger companies downtown. But I don't think that like a lot of people go to them, which like could obviously help people stay here if they actually like attended the events that the university does sponsor.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not in the class, but if you don't necessarily have to track people to like stay there right after college, but if they're invested in the city, like if they got a job by going to Greensboro, then they might be more likely to move there later on in their life and then like contribute to the city.
I think also by creating more job opportunities, we could also create more places to go for like entertainment and like things to do in Greensboro for like to attract some tourism or something. More jobs means more organizations, and more organization means like more produce of services and goods. So I guess if you were to make a new amusement park or something in that like way, maybe make some more movie theaters or whatever, it would also give a lot of more job opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like I know, for example, I'm not from around here, but like whenever my family like wanted to go get like a nice dinner or something, we would always go down to like downtown Raleigh or something because they're just known for having like good restaurants there. So if you could do like that same thing here and like incentivize like have like nice like entertainment places to come here, that'd be really good.
Hi, I'm back. Power flickered.
Yeah.
So Jason, we were talking about like increasing entertainment, like within the city of Greensboro. Do you like, I mean,
Okay.
you live here. Do you have any comment on that?
Without, so I'm thinking let's take the sports area, for example. We have a minor league baseball team. That's it. If we could start trying to find ways to get sports teams in, I think that not only the jobs provided by whatever stadium or arena would be provided, whether it be hockey, soccer, whatever, but the amount of revenue that would create for the city would be very, very nice. Other entertainment jobs, we could try getting a massive tech corporate, so like a regional headquarters for something like Twitter or Facebook or something like that might be help. I would definitely help students at UNCG, which would be interested in tech jobs of that sort. But those would be what I would think of.
How often do they have events in the Coliseum here? Like I never really see anybody there.
So most of the time, those events are usually basketball related.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then we get a pretty popular artist come down and do a concert. However, we're not as popular as a venue as Charlotte and Raleigh.
Right.
But maybe once a year you get a popular artist here. That is if COVID doesn't end things, but
yeah.
I think one way that it could really help is if the city of Greensboro kind of geared more towards older adult living, more so than I guess you can say college student living. I've noticed that a lot of stuff around here generally is like college oriented, which is great because you have 3 major colleges here, but also at the same time, once people graduate, they need stuff to do. They need ways to interact with other young adults. They need venues where they can mix and mingle and create business connections. And kind of without those venues and those places to go, it makes it harder to find opportunities here. It makes it harder to make connections and to kind of grow as a career person inside your career in total. So kind of just expanding on their age range. It kind of just seems like it's either you're here to retire or you're here to be a college student. There's no like in between or kind of like a balance.
mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the suburbs where there is the middle age or family age or oriented are 25 minutes away. I live there. So yeah, it's they're most of the time not
Okay, we lost Jason again. But yeah, I think that's really good, Yolanda, with like talking about like making it more like future perspective.
So I would really want to create more opportunities for humanities/arts jobs. We have a Greensboro Symphony. I mean, we could start trying to actually use the half of the city that most people do not. The east half of the city is what I'm talking about, where AT&T pretty much, sorry, I was getting that, around AT&T and around that area is not very well used for commercial development or any type of industry. It's mostly low income residential. So if we can try to introduce jobs regarding murals, music schools, other sort of those type of jobs, I think you would see a lot of UNCG specific students start staying in the city.
I think like with as many arts related majors as we have at UNCG, I would expect to see like the art museums downtown. I would expect more from them because I've been to one, and like I would say at least half of it was just empty exhibits. So I think like if students had some kind of increased access to places like that, or like, you know, doing like a feature event, you know, like as a like a project or something, that could really help people be like, okay, you know, this is somewhere I want to make a career for myself, like in something like this.
Yeah, that is a good point, because like also if you get like more artistic and like entertainment focused like jobs in the city, people are gonna like want to come here to like see that stuff as well. So you'll get like more people just coming to like visit because you got like more interesting things here as well. You have more jobs like that.
Another thing, mostly because it's the people in here, tourism. We have an international airport. We have, I mean, there's students in this right now that are not from the United States or Greensboro for that matter. Finding ways to actually attract people, not just on other parts of the state, but outside the United States itself to Greensboro would be an amazing idea, because if you haven't noticed, Greensboro is a growing city. With the past 40 years, it's multiplied 3 times the size. So trying to find ways to keep getting that growth will draw in people from areas outside of Carolina.
It's actually funny that you say that you have an international airport, because they do call it an international airport, but I don't think any of us flew directly from Europe to Greensboro. We all had to land in like Washington, Chicago, Atlanta to actually get to Greensboro. So it doesn't really live up to its name.
I know, it's the same way out too. It's no Atlanta whatsoever.
Yeah. But do you guys know any cities that have succeeded on this matter, that have like worked and actually worked on becoming more attractive for students?
Charlotte is one of them. I can say probably in like the past 20 years, which is probably like almost as long as we've all been alive. But going back even into like the history of Charlotte, it's definitely expanded over, I would say even from the time I was 15 to now, the amount of people that go to Charlotte literally just to be there. Like, but I also think that comes with the events that they put inside of the area, which is definitely something that Greensboro needs. So like Charlotte really used the fact that they had the Panther Stadium there. They really used the fact that they had the NCAA tournaments there for so many years. That really kind of pushed people to go to that particular city and to be there. And while they were there, they were able to go and explore everything else that they had to offer. The same thing with like Raleigh. Raleigh, while it's always been like, you know, considered a major city, it's expanded into something bigger because of the opportunities that they have there and the things that they have to do there. So I really do think that creating those opportunities, even small stuff like, I know in Charlotte, they opened a selfie museum. So like even small stuff like that, you know, attracts people for whatever reason. And so creating those opportunities here would probably attract more people to come here to have something to do while they are here and something that is memorable so they'll tell other people, which attracts more people in larger numbers.
Yeah, I definitely look at those for examples. With there being a lot of universities in North Carolina, how many universities are just known to be college towns? Think of Chapel Hill, think of Boone, and with Appalachian, think of UNCW, ECU, UNC Asheville. I mean, most of these places are known for just a college and have no other reason to be there, to be quite frank. I'm primarily just thinking of Boone, for example. The
I
amount,
mean, I would say I'm from Asheville, and it's like one of the, I think, biggest tourist cities in North Carolina. We are like, it's like beer city, like #1 for a couple of years running in the past years, and we have a really big like arts community and restaurant community. And I work in a restaurant, and we would get tons of people from across the state that would come in and eat. So yeah, pretty incredible the amount of tourists.
you were exactly right. I traveled to Asheville just to go hike a couple months ago. I loved it, and I went to downtown Asheville. The art was amazing. But I talked to people who actually found work there, and they said finding work in Asheville is absolutely, for higher education work is really hard. But if that Asheville is known for being an amazing liberal arts city, and it's pretty spread out. I like the mountains. It's pretty cool. But
the city I'm from in Denmark, Aarhus, was actually nominated the culture capital of Europe a couple years ago because they had worked for so long on it's a very big town for the university and for students, and then they actually worked a lot on the cultures, like the arts and the museums, like Ricky talked about, actually working on that here as well, because if you do have the studies, then also you should have something for the graduates to do when they're done, and that's what Aarhus did, and they actually won a prize for it.
I think although UNCG, it might feel hard, but I think another area we could grow in as a city wise, because I don't know much about this department, would be architecture wise or that sort. I think the architecture in most of Greensboro is kind of brutalist and very kind of not really pretty to look at.
I think the architecture and arts kind of go hand in hand.
Well, aren't like most of the buildings around here like pretty old?
Yeah, Greensboro is super historic. I was gonna talk about that. A lot of the buildings here are empty. I know I had professors that talk about a lot of them are filled with like asbestos and stuff like that, so you can't tear them down without like polluting the air. And you can't really like build within them. And I think that's a huge problem for Greensboro, is that they're running out of space to put buildings for different businesses because there are so many things here that like they can't get rid of.
I think there's a very, very lacking amount of commercial zoning within downtown Greens. I mean, you have obviously the main streets, but downtown's quite crowded. Not very spread out.
All right, well, we've been talking for about 30 minutes, which is how long we're supposed to. So if you'll let me like final thoughts, we should probably cover those and then start wrapping it up probably. Y'all say like basically everything that you wanted to.
I got one more question though for everybody here. Do we think there's a certain bit of cultural fragmentation happening? I mean, obviously there's going to be a little bit, but anybody can think of any specific cultural fragmentation happening in Greensboro?
I can't name one.
I'm not really from Greensboro, so I can't really say for sure. I'll definitely say even from some of my professors, it seems that certain parts of Greensboro, they warn you not to go to because of the history in those areas. So I definitely, and for instance, I have family that it lives on Market Street, and Market Street is like one of the main places that they tell you not to go. One of my professors told me was like, yeah, you don't want to go over there, like especially later in the day or at night. So I definitely feel like maybe exploring really the history behind why people say that. I can say for personal experience that, like, for instance, in Charlotte, everybody is always like, don't go Beatty's Ford. Beatty's Ford is like the worst place to go. But in reality, it really isn't. And that's where really a lot of your small businesses are. It's where a lot of your Black businesses are. And it's where a lot of your lower income people stay. So I feel like that's kind of happening in a lot of places where people are telling you not to go to these lower income neighborhoods because of the history behind them. But without actually going there and exploring, you never actually really know what is happening there. They're just kind of going based off of the news, which can be subjective.
Yeah, definitely. You nailed it right on the spot with what I was thinking. As being a locally mind, I've spent maybe or very, very little time in the east part of Greensboro, having AT&T, the train station, and a little bit more. But 100%, they tell you do not go over there whatsoever. The only, as I said, the only really safe places would be AT&T campus and surrounding area, and the train station. I used to go and actually work over there summers at a farmers market and get to interact with the community. It's a very low income residential and higher crime, not high crime, I would say, but higher crime area. And it's mostly Black population in there. And unfortunately, on the west side and in center Greensboro, where University of UNCG would be west side, we don't go over there. We don't talk about it. We really just kind of ignore it whatsoever. It's strange if I actually meet anybody over there just due to where I'm located. So that's definitely cultural fragmentation right there, in my opinion. We almost have two different spheres of Greensboro that don't interact with each other whatsoever. Yeah, that's my little piece.
Cool.
All right. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, I think so.
To everybody that's like not in our class group, we really appreciate you guys
Yeah.
coming out
Appreciate
and
it a
helping us
lot.
out with this. So
Does a favor.
Very nice. Yes, for sure.
All right. We good to stop the recording?
Mm-hmm.